It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Where's Papa going with that axe? Hey everyone, welcome to First Line Fridays. My name is Aaron Spears. I'm a young adult librarian right here at the Westlake Porter Public Library. Like the two examples we just saw, 1984 by George Orwell and Charlotte's Web, the first lines can really grab your attention in an interesting way and compel you to keep going. The author Ursula K. Le Guin has a great comment, a great quote about this, saying that first sentences are doors to worlds. Each book itself is its own world for the reader to explore, and that first sentence, oh, they're so juicy they can just grab you. So with this video, we're going to take a look at a few great first sentences from young adult literature and see if any of those grab you. These are all from books that are in the collection, so if one of these first sentences does intrigue you, does open a door to a world you want to explore, go ahead and grab it. They are all in our collection here at Westlake Porter Public Library. So let's jump in with the first line of the first book we're looking at in this particular video. First up, we have Juiced had two problems, the moon and his mustache. This is from Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. This is set in Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price. No one knows this better than criminal prodigy Kaz. Kaz is offered a chance at a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. So he's got a convict with a thirst for revenge, he's got a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, and a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. So you've got six dangerous outcasts, one impossible heist. Kaz's crew is the only thing that might stand between the world and destruction if they don't kill each other first. This is book one of two in the Crooked Kingdom series, and is also now actually a Netflix series called Shadow and Bone. So if you are intrigued by those particular books, by those two books, or even just the first book, there is now an adaptation that you can also go and enjoy as well. Second line for this particular video, I have no idea how to write this stupid book. This one really grabs me because it's first person, but also there's like a cynicism and a humor to it as well, which really always grabs my attention. This is from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. This is, it's billed right away as the funniest book you'll ever read about death. It's a universally acknowledged truth that high school sucks, but on the first day of his senior year, Greg Gaines thinks he's figured it out. The answer to the basic existentialist question, how is it possible to exist in a place that sucks so bad? His strategy is to remain at the periphery at all times, keeping an insanely low profile, make mediocre films with the one person who's even sort of his friend, Earl, but this plan lasts for exactly 8 hours. Then Greg's mom forces him to become friends with a girl who has cancer, and this brings about the destruction of Greg's entire life. This has also been adapted into a movie a few years ago. It's one of those great just coming of age stories that translates very well to the film, but also you get that very unique perspective, that unique character voice if you read it in the book form. Opening line number 3. The screw through Cinder's ankle had rusted, the engraved cross marks worn to a mangled circle. This is from the wildly popular Lunar Chronicles. This is book 1 called Cinder by Marissa Mayer. Humans and androids crowd the raucous streets of New Beijing. A deadly plague is ravaging the population. From space, a ruthless lunar people watch, waiting to make their move. No one knows that Earth's fate hinges on one girl, Cinder, a gifted mechanic who's also a cyborg. She's a second-class citizen with a mysterious past, reviled by her stepmother and blamed for her stepsister's illness. But when her life becomes intertwined with the handsome Prince Kai, she suddenly finds herself at the center of an intergalactic struggle and a forbidden attraction. Caught between duty and freedom, loyalty and betrayal, she must uncover secrets about her past in order to protect her world's future. So if that sounds vaguely Cinderella-ish, you're not wrong. Marissa Mayer is kind of playing with conventional fairy tales within this whole Lunar Chronicles series. So if you like that one, you're going to want to, this one's going to hook you. If you read the first one, Cinder by Marissa Mayer, you're going to be hooked and you're going to want to plow through the whole series, which we have here at the library. Opening line number 4, I've been locked up for 264 days. That is a great opening for science fiction, for dystopia, and that's what you get with Shatter Me by Tahera Mafi. This is the first book in the Shatter Me series, which is also now being adapted as a TV series. This first one starts off with Juliet With one touch, it's all it takes. One touch, she can kill, and that's why she's in prison. No one knows why Juliet has such incredible power. It feels like a curse, a burden that one person alone could never bear, but the reestablishment sees it as a gift. It sees her as an opportunity for a deadly weapon. Juliet has never fought for herself before, but when she's reunited with the one person who ever cared about her, she finds the strength she needs that she also never knew she had. The next first line, congratulations. The fact that you're reading this means you've taken one giant step closer to your next birthday. This is from Maximum Ride, the first one, by James Patterson. 14-year-old Maximum Ride, better known as Max, knows what it's like to soar above the world. She and all members of the flock, Fang, Iggy, Nudge, Gasman, and Angel, are just like ordinary kids, only they have wings and can fly. While that may seem like a dream come true, their lives can morph into a living nightmare at any time. Like when Angel, the youngest member of the flock, is kidnapped and taken back to the school where she and the others were experimented on by a crew of whack jobs. So this is a wildly popular young adult series that James Patterson wrote a number of years ago. There's 10 in the main line of stories, 10 books, and there's also these little side books that he's published around this universe of stories. But this one, it's a fast-paced action novel. It'll definitely grab you right from that first line. Next one up, we're going to go a little bit more gothic and creepy because it is October right now after all. New Orleans is a city ruled by the dead. This is from the book The Beautiful by Renee Ahde. This is 1872 New Orleans. It's a city ruled by the dead, but to 17-year-old Celine, New Orleans is a safe haven after she's forced to flee her life as a dressmaker in Paris. Taken in by the sisters of the Ursuline convent in the middle of carnival season, Celine is quite enraptured in the vibrant city, from its music to its fancy soirees and even the danger she sees in the city. She becomes embroiled in the city's glitzy underworld known as La Cour des Lions after catching the eye of the group's enigmatic leader, Sebastian Saint-Germain. When the body of one of the girls from the convent is found in Sebastian's own lair, the second dead girl to turn up in recent weeks, Celine battles her attraction to Sebastian and suspicions about his guilt, along with the shame of her own horrible secret. This is book one of two that she's written in this series, so it's just what would that be called, a duology then? You've got The Beautiful and you've also got The Damned. So if that one intrigues you, there's another book to go further into that world. All right, next first line. We went to the moon to have fun, but the moon turned out to completely suck. That is a great hook too, because again, it's got that little bit of humor, which always will grab my attention, but also there's a science fiction aspect of like, we went to the moon to have fun. Like, that's not what we're currently doing in this 2021. So this is definitely heading into the science fiction realm, maybe with a little cynicism, a little bit of comedy. This is from Feed by M.T. Anderson. For Titus and his friends, it started out like any ordinary trip to the moon, a chance to party during spring break and play with stupid low-gravity games at the Ricochet Lounge. But that was before the crazy hacker caused all their feeds to malfunction, sending them to the hospital to lie around with nothing inside their heads for days. And it was before Titus met Violet, a beautiful, brainy teenage girl who has decided to fight the feed and its omnipresent ability to categorize human thoughts and desires. Next up, we have another one with a little tinge of comedy to it. The first thing you find out when your dog learns to talk is that dogs don't got nothing much to say. With just one sentence, you've already got a very, very unique voice telling you this particular story from the book The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This is a dystopian thriller that follows a boy and a girl on the run from a town where thoughts can be heard, and the passage to manhood embodies a horrible, horrible secret. So this is Todd Hewitt. He's the only boy in a town of men, and ever since the settlers were infected with the noise germ, Todd can hear everything the men think, and they hear everything he thinks. So this is part of the Chaos Walking trilogy that Patrick Ness wrote. Is actually already has been filmed starring Tom Holland, the current Spider-Man, and Daisy Ridley from the most recent Star Wars trilogy. They did a movie version of The Knife of Never Letting Go called Chaos Walking that is out right now. It's available for streaming. So grab the book, watch the movie. It's a really, really interesting sci-fi story with a dark streak of humor throughout. It's been 64 years since the president and the consortium identified love as a disease, and 43 since the scientists perfected a cure. This is the first line from Delirium by Lauren Oliver. Think of it as George Orwell's 1984 and a romance like Romeo and Juliet combined. So it's an alternative United States where love has been declared a dangerous disease and the government forces everyone who reaches 18 to have a procedure called the cure. So living with her aunt and uncle and cousins in Portland, Maine, Lena is very much looking forward to being cured and living a safe, predictable life. She watched love destroy her mother and isn't about to make the same mistakes, but with 95 days until her treatment, Lena meets enigmatic Alex, a boy from the wilds who lives under the government's radar. What will happen if they do the unthinkable and fall in love? Now, once again, this is a series, so this is book one in what is called the Delirium trilogy. So if you like this one and it really hooks you, you got two more books to dive deeper into this particular world. Up next we have It's So Hard to Talk When You Want to Kill Yourself. So that one's skewing a little bit darker, but it's actually from a fairly comedic book called It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. This book follows ambitious teen Craig Gilner, who is determined to succeed in life, like obsessively determined. But once Craig aces his way into Manhattan's executive pre-professional high school, the pressure just becomes unbearable. He stops eating, he stops sleeping, and one night he nearly kills himself. His suicidal episode gets him checked into a mental hospital, and that's where the story really kicks off. It's a really smart, really well-written book that deals with a mental health crisis that this teenager is experiencing and places you right into his mentality and how he's able to cope with this, and also the people that he meets along the way that are also experiencing some mental health issues. The early summer sky was the color of cat vomit. That's pretty vivid description, right? The way to start off the book. This is from Theuglies by Scott Westerfield. Tally lives in a world where your 16th birthday brings aesthetic perfection, an operation which erases your flaws, transforming you from an ugly into a pretty. She is on the eve of this important event and cannot wait for her life to change, but then she meets Shay and her whole outlook is different. This is book one in the Theuglies quadrilogy. There's 4 books that Scott Westerfield wrote in this particular one. So if that first line hooks you, it definitely delivers on that promise in the first book. And then if that first book hooks you, you've got 3 more to dive deeper into that particular world as well. All right, last line we got for this particular video, and it's only 3 words. Aliens are stupid. That is from The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. So the premise of this is really simple and also really, I think it's a great hook. You just read the back of the book. The first wave took out 500,000 people. The second wave put that number to shame. The third wave lasted a little longer, 12 weeks, 4 billion dead. Fourth wave, you can't trust that people are even still people anymore. And the fifth wave, no one knows, but everyone knows that it's coming. On the lonely stretch of highway, Cassie runs from the beings that only look human, who have scattered Earth's last survivors. And to stay alone is to stay alive until she meets Evan Walker. Beguiling and mysterious, Evan may be her only hope. Now Cassie must choose between trust and despair, between defiance and surrender, potentially between life and death. This is book one of 3 that Rick Yancey wrote in this particular trilogy, and also the first one has been adapted into a film as well. So if that line grabs your attention, it's a really, again, kind of cynical look at our female protagonist saying aliens are stupid, oh my god, and she's trying to survive in this world mainly by staying alone, but is that the best way to survive? Hopefully one of those intrigued you, and you can head over to our website or come on in and grab one of these great books with our opening lines. Until next time, happy reading.